there's probably not very much light to show what this thing looks like. I'm not sure. Oh. The never-ending search for the coffee cup. The never-ending search. So this is the first piece. This is page 1, book 1, page 1. And I think that, I mean, I don't know what I think. I know that I'm probably analyzing the whole thing too much. But I think I'm going to leave this piece in the form that it is, as a reference. And I'm going to write on here the paint that I used to get this particular thing. But I do believe that it has to have a particular type of energy about it. That this doesn't, well, this is just the beginning anyway, so it's not going to have that kind of energy anyway. This is not a finished piece. Although it could be finished. But it's not finished. I think it has to have a particular type of energy about it. And I think it has to have a particular type of it has to have something that I'm just talking out loud here. It has to have something about it. Well, I don't know what it has to have. It was interesting. I was listening to this interview by this guy Gerhard Richter, and I mean, it's unbelievable what this guy is doing and the way he's received. And it's like, this is a guy that I didn't even know existed until fairly recently, and he's the most, and I'm not talking about his style or whatever, but he's the most, his paintings bring more than anybody else's. And I don't understand what's happening there, other than there has to be some sort of serious manipulation of something. Because he's no Picasso. I didn't even hear about him until just recently, and he's outstanding in his. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad painter. I'm not saying there's anything bad about him at all. But he was talking about how, and I agree with him on this. He's an interesting person, and I think he's probably a very kind person. And he was talking about how he had made these. If I can remember, I'll put the link to that interview in this video. But he was talking about how these paintings of these stripes, and they look like wrapping paper. And the interviewer said, well, what do you think about when people say that that looks like wrapping paper? He says, oh, that's good. You know, why did you do it? Oh, I was like a child, playing like a child, which is like what this is. That's playing like a child. That has the energy of a child. That has the playfulness and the spontaneity of a child. So he's saying I was playing like a child, and he's talking about how and the interviewer asked him something about, well, you're going back and forth between these things. What's that about, or whatever? He says that he doesn't really know about what that's about, but that it's more related to the time. He said that in the past, in the museums, things you had important things, serious things, and now you have interesting things. That the museums are full of nice paintings or something. And anytime an artist uses the word nice or pretty or something like that, it's an insult in a way. I'm not saying it's an insult, but it can be like that. The museums are full of nice things. I think he said nice things. And that means that they're not important and they're not serious. So that the times are right now for interesting things. And I thought that was very fascinating. I thought that was very fascinating to hear his take on that, because when you look at what he's done, I'll send you that interview so you can look at it. But I think that, like the painting I showed you, that has the energy of a child. It's that raw sort of power that comes from within, not from, it comes from the heart and from the soul and from the spirit, not from the head. And this right here is maybe a little bit about the drawing. I think, I don't know, the whole, that's a very interesting thing about that series that I spent 10 years doing. I sat in a chair and drew for 10 years. That's a very powerful thing, whatever that is. Wherever that came from, that place where that came from is the reality, is that important thing, that serious thing. But maybe it's not of our time right now. Maybe that would have been, maybe I'm behind my time. That these drawings would have had more power and more impact and more relevance for humanity if I would have done them sooner. But I did them now, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. So this is going to be a journey. I mean, it's going to be a wild ride, you know. Or maybe it's not going to be a wild ride. I don't know what it's going to be. But I just got out of bed. It has not even dawned. So anyway, it's interesting. It's also interesting that I realized that the surface was not right. I mean, the surface is interesting for this type of thing. For the lay-in, I think it was an interesting surface because it gave lots of different type of thing. But I didn't prepare the surface for, I don't know, it's just what it is. So I'm not going to talk about techniques anymore. I'm just going to, I don't want to talk about techniques or any of that stuff because I don't think that's really important. I don't think that's what you and I are doing. and it's not what I want to do anyway. So let's see what time it is here. 6:10. 55 degrees. 55 degrees in my studio. It's 6:10, and I'll show you what it looks like outside, and then I'm gonna send you this video. I can hear that vehicle out on the road. Boy, I'm glad I don't live close to that. Okay, well, I just wanted to show you what happened yesterday. So, okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.